As you explore the Acrobat X Pro interface, you're going to discover there's a lot more to this product than what you might see at first glance. There are tools and hidden tools and preferences and options, and they all enhance what you can do with this product, giving you greater control. So let's get started by exploring the new and improved Acrobat X Pro workspace. When we first launch Acrobat Pro, we're actually going to start by seeing this welcome screen. And the welcome screen gives us some options for opening a recent file or browsing to open a file, or actually some other shortcuts for features that it's going to demo for you. I'm going to actually just quickly open up a file. And this gives us more information about the actual display. And we have here a menu bar. And I can click on different menus to access commands. And then of course I have several tools available to me. I have these toolbars. And then I have a navigation pane, sometimes it's called the navigation panel, with different navigation panes here, like page thumbnails and bookmarks and attachments. And I can click on the icon to expand or collapse it. Here's bookmark, expand or collapse it. And then also, this is a new interface element. I've got some different panes for tools, and everything has been streamlined here. And I actually could go to comments or share. Let's take a closer look at these panels here. When I click on tools, I can see that it's divided into these different categories. I click on page and it expands or collapses these sets of tools. And if I click on content, I have some more options for working with content, or I could click on forms. And you'll notice that as I click on one tool, like an accordion, it wraps up the other option. All right. Now there's actually a symbol over on the very top right corner that it gives you more choices. It looks like a little bit of a menu or right click. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that. One option is to allow multiple panels to open at the same time. I'll go ahead and choose that. And you'll see that when I click on content, that I can actually have two panels expanded at the same time. However, I like this feature where they collapse and I can see one at a time. I think it helps me work with my tools and features. So you have a preference in there what works best for you. There's also other tools that have actually aren't even turned on or displayed, they're hidden. But if I click on document processing, it gives me access to other types of tools I might want to use, for example, working with articles or adding page transitions. And also I might want to work with print production. In fact, I'm going to turn all these on, and this will give me more options as I'm exploring my interface. I'll be able to see what else I can do. And you can just easily click on them to expand and explore. And I'll go back to pages. Now, Acrobat does remember how you leave your tools panel. So if you leave it expanded with pages, or you have certain tools that have been turned on, or perhaps you've gone back and turned them off, the next time you open up Acrobat, it will be as you left it. Now, of course, we have a commenting section, and so we can work with lots of different comment and drawing, markup tools, and then the share, which has been streamlined, gives us ways for sharing our files with other users. I'm going to go back to tools. And the other thing is if I click on tools one more time, it actually collapses the entire panel. So I have an option for expanding or collapsing that panel for different purposes of what I want. I also have a little option drop down there with more choices. Let's go back over to our tools up at top. Well, as I'm exploring these different tools, there's actually several of them. And if I right click, I can see this different sets of tools. So for example, the rotate options, page navigation, and that's actually referring to these tools over here with the 1 and the 8 and the arrows. And I can even add other tools. So for example, I really like to use the previous and next tools. So I'm going to go ahead and add those in, page navigation and next view. And now I can quickly move around if I have an option, a document with links, for example. Another set of tools in here is actually my select and zoom tools. And the two tools that you see right away are select and hand. And those are two of the most important tools in Acrobat. When you're working with Acrobat, one tool is always selected. And if I click on the selection tool, it's an easy way to highlight text. Or the hand tool is an easy way to scroll or pan through. I'm just using my mouse here to scroll through this document. And depending on the zoom that you're in, you get different options for scrolling. When I click on my Tools panel and open up, for example, let's say Content, and I click on a tool such as Link, I have this tool active, and again with Acrobat, there's always one tool active, and it's nice to know that you have what's called the Selection tool and the Hand tool as a way to reset. So if for some reason you're not sure what's going on, you can use your Selection tool to get back. Another set of tools that comes to mind is as I right-click here, I can actually access some of my editing tools. You'll notice that they have things like Undo, which is a very popular tool, and Redo and Cut and Copy. And actually, in this scenario, I'm going to click on Show All Edit Tools, and it turns all of them on, and so I can have this toolbar available to me. And if there are certain tools that I didn't want to see, I could actually come and close certain ones and customize it as I was working on it. Now, we have another set of tools up here. This is your Quick Tools, and this allows you to add certain tools that you work with on a regular basis up to this area here so that you can always find them, and as you're exploring you can add different quick tools. So for example, if I had to do a lot of work with links, I could actually right click and add it to the quick tools, and you can see how it adds right here. Or I might be working with pages and I'm doing a lot of work with Bates numbering, I could right click and add to quick tools. Another option is you can click on this first symbol, looks like a little gear there or a cog, and this gives you some options for actually really customizing the quick tools. So I can click on pages and I can see all the different tools in here, and I can actually select a tool and add it in, and I could even change the order of this tool if I wanted to do that. And you can see how you can systematically simply walk through these different tools and start adding them to your quick collection. Okay. Now, another option I can do, I'm going to actually go to my View menu this time instead of using my right click, is when I work with Show and Hide, and you can see the different toolbar options, you can actually get an idea of these different tools. You can reset your toolbars, and resetting your toolbars is going to go back to the way that it started with, so the industry standard. So I'm going to click on that. It does give me a warning, which is handy. Click on OK, and then you'll notice my toolbars have been reset. So the editing toolbar has been turned off. The tools that I added to previous, the quick tools, have been changed. Well, notice though that your navigation tools over here, your tool panes over on the right hand side, have not been reset. They are going to stay as you left them. Now, the navigation pane, let's go back here to View, Show, Hide, and you can see navigation panes. They also have some options in here. So for example, you can show or hide them, you can reset them. There is actually several different navigation panes that are not on by default. And although I use these ones quite often, the page thumbnails and the bookmarks, on occasion I may want to work with layers, or if I'm setting up something for accessibility, I would want to use something such as the order tree, the order and the model tree. And so I can actually set up these different panels, and if I right click, I can reset back to default. So it's handy to know that, because sometimes we change them without ever seeing it. You should also be aware that when all these elements have changed, this is a new interface. So if you have been migrating from a version such as Acrobat 9, you might be wondering, where did this information go? So I want to give you a little quick tip and trick. I've just launched the Acrobat Help, and I went to the Help menu to launch it. And it's actually a help tool that is online. And the first feature you're going to see is called What's New. And so you click on that, give it a moment to catch up with us. And then here's What's New. What's New? Acrobat Streamlined User Interface. There's even this feature, where's my Acrobat 9 tool? I'm going to go ahead and click on Streamlined User Interface. And it's a nice picture, and if you're used to the 9 interface, it allows you to map to where those items have been added. And there's also a list of where items have been added. And the more you start experimenting with this interface, I have a hunch the more you're going to appreciate the new design that's in here. One other tip and trick I want to point out to you: when you're working with your tools and menus, it is possible to turn them off completely. And although you may not go to View, Show, Hide, and turn off the menu bar by pressing F9, what I found is that sometimes we press that F9 by accident, or, so go to here, Toolbar Items, you'll see here is the F8 and navigation F4. And so I could see this happening accidentally just pressing one of these keys, and I just want to show you what's going on here. So here's my F4. Oh, let me try that again. F4 is turning that collapse in on and off. And then let's go ahead and come back here to Acrobat. The other tool opened up for a moment. And I'm going to go back in here and show hide, and I'll use my F8. And I'm actually just going to press F9 on the keyboard, and you can see how it's moving that element. Now, the nice thing is, if for some reason this happened and you did forget where those elements are because you kind of happened by accident, just be aware that if you close the product and then reopen it, I'll go back in here to open up Acrobat, that your menus and toolbars do come back. And the only reason you don't see the navigation pane is simply because there's no file open. I'll go ahead and open that up, and the navigation pane is available. And notice that the tools are the way we left them, with all those different tools turned on. I'll go ahead and move us back down, and just letting you know that these are some great ways that you can work with your new and improved interface in Acrobat X, and also just get used to the extra tools and ways that you can streamline this interface for your own purposes.